that was a bad upset for us because, you know, they wasn't supposed to beat us. But Mouse kind of gave it to us, and they won. But the biggest loss, the one I still remember to this day, we lost to LSU. Was it the Sweet 16 or to go to the Sweet 16? We lost to them. We were the favorites. They had a kid named Daryl Joe. He was a point guard. He was guarding me, tough dude, and he shut me down. Like, he bullied me, basically punked me on the court. And, you know, I just wasn't ready for that. And I'll never forget that because after the game, he talked a lot of stuff in the paper, said a lot of things, you know, I wasn't that good, and, you know, I was overrated and all that. But Dow Joe was the biggest motivation that I had at DePaul. So Dow Joe made me that next year, that next summer. See, when I went to DePaul, I didn't want to lift no weights and all that. Like, I don't want that. Nah. So I kind of half-ass lift weights. For that situation, I was focused. I'm like, that's never happening again. And so I ate weights after that. I made sure I was physically prepared for the next year. You know, I was focused because I was embarrassed. I'll never forget, I left off the court, and I see this guy, a friend of mine from back home, and he's an older guy that we looked up to, you know, all the young guys. And I'll just never forget his face. He looked at me like, you let Mitchell down. Like, I'll never forget his face. And I walked off that court. I walked past him. Excuse me, my allergies are killing me and got me stuffed up. But I walked off that court. I saw him. And then I went back home to New York in front of the gym. And he was in front of the gym with some of the other older guys. And they were killing me about that. You know, basically soft and, you know, all that. You know how the older guys do, and rightfully so. Yeah. And after that, to this day, I tell people, I wish Dow Joe would have made the NBA. Like, if I could have helped him, I'd have helped him. Like, I'd have helped him because I wanted to play against Daryl Joe so bad, you know, because I always felt like he had that over me. You know what I mean? He can always say, he got me, and I can't say anything about it. Like, if I'm in front of him right now and he's talking junk, I can go to I played in the league, you know, but no, he can, you know what I'm saying? He got that one over me. So I always, you know, and to this day, I remember that. And but that was big for me. Like, I'll tell my kids, if you ain't getting your butt busted in the gym, you in the wrong gym. Like, that's like the rite of passage. Like, that's part of the development. Like, you it's supposed to happen, and that happened, and that helped me. That put some fire inside of me, and it put a chip on my shoulder, and you know that propelled me the next year, being ready to leave early to go to the NBA.
And just to show you how much of a fan I am of yours, I remember that, and I remember your junior year, the first game, first televised game of the year, you annihilated David Rivers. Everybody was talking about Rod is 10 pounds heavier, he's stronger, and you took his lunch. You walked in, you jumped from jump ball. It was game over. I'll never forget. Talk to me about that game.
Yeah, well, I mean, just in general, like, because I can't specifically remember all of that, but like, I know that year. Okay, I was ineligible. I don't know if you remember the beginning of. Yes, I was ineligible. I was academically ineligible, right? So I'll never forget watching the team, and I got to sit in the dorm and watch them, and I'm just waiting. And I remember this, my first game, it was one of the Michigan teams. I don't know if it's Western, Eastern, or whatever. But I went down the middle of the lane and dunked off of 1 foot. I don't dunk. I rarely dunked in my life. But I was so amped, and I was so ready to make a statement, you know what I mean, that I'm here, I'm back. And again, that all started with Daryl Joe, you know. So that year, you know, I was trying to prove, number one, that wasn't me. You know, what you saw was, you know, it was just one of those inexperienced things. Because I'll never forget, dude was pushing me. He was bodying me. And I've always been able to deal with that with my skill. But for some reason, whether it was the fact of, we were Sweet 16 or whatever, coupled with the fact that he was a bully, and I just couldn't handle it at that moment. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, that propelled me the next year that wouldn't happen again with anybody. You know what I mean? So I tried to prepare my body and my mind that if I run into Dow Joe, no matter what his name is, that couldn't happen again.
Wow. Okay, with that being said, did you ever encounter another Dow Joe? Or someone who motivated you like that?
No, I get motivations from different things, but I never ran into that situation. Like, I ran into the league, to guys in the league who outplayed me that I had to figure it out. John Stockton was a physical dude, used to tip the ball from me. I had to figure it out. But I had already been programmed that, okay, this only happened, because for Dow Joe, it happened the whole game. So now I'm programmed that, okay, you might get me for a minute, but we got to get out of this. You know what I mean? Like, this, we're not going to do this for a whole game. Like, so mentally, I kind of, I was prepared for more. So, yeah, I encountered some dudes. It's like I used to play against Derek Harper. The first game I played against him in New York at the Garden, I'll never forget, he ripped me, because back then you could put your elbow, your hand, and everything. So he would get close, strong on you with one hand, and then smack it with the other. And after he did it the one time, next time he came anywhere close to me, I'm elbowing him. And I'll never forget, he was like, Rod, you better watch them elbows. And I'm like, well, dude, you're going to have to get off of me. And like, we ain't doing that. Like, that's not going to happen. So, I was kind of prepared for some of that. But, you always go through your moments where, you have that moment where somebody else is going to get the best of you, and you got to figure it out, and you got to get better, and you got your off seasons. So you go through those things. That's all a part of learning and getting better. But Dow Joe is a moment. You know what I'm saying? You know how you have those moments? He was a moment.
That's what's up, man. It's not a lot of people that have that Dow Joe. And honestly, I believe that's what slows a lot of people down. That one thorn, that one memory for the rest of your life, it always bothers you. I have a friend who to work for the CIA because of one of our friends embarrassed him in front of a group of our friends. And he said, he literally told me, sometimes I go to work. This dude is in the CIA, man. He said, sometimes I go to work to think about that day. So I'm definitely familiar with it. And that same guy tried it with me, and he flipped.
For real.
Okay, in college, who were some of your greatest competitors then? We got the David Rivers thing, we got the Dale Joe thing. Is there anybody that you still like, okay, I know I got to, I'm ready for this dude. I'm ready because me and him are about to do damage.
Well, Nigel Knight, do you remember Nigel Knight?
Yes.
From Dayton. Nigel Knight was a problem. Nigel Knight was a handful. That was one of those guys I had to always like, and he was younger than me. I think he was a year behind me. But Nigel Knight was a problem, man. He was tough. He could score the ball. There were some other teams, like, we had battles with Marquette and, some other teams. Louisville would come in town. You got Milt Wagner on Louisville. Man, it was so many. Georgia Tech came in one time. You had Bruce Dalrymple, who was from New York, was supposed to be this big-time, tough, like, defensive player. And so, that was a challenge. Anytime it was a guy who was supposed to be this tough, big-time defender, I'm in practice the day before, focused, because I wanted to prove to him that he's not. We played against Duke, like I said, in the Sweet 16. You had Tommy Amaker. He was known as this defensive guy. So, those guys in those situations. Matter of fact, my first year we played Oklahoma. They had a really good team. They had Harvey Grant. Oh, I can't remember all the names, but they had a point guard from D.C. Can't remember his name right now, but he was a little bully, little pit bull, and he was guarding me. He was trying to, intimidate me, and we battled. You know what I mean? But so those are the guys, and those are the moments that I remember. And that's out of respect to them at the end of the day.
That's what's up, man. So now, how do you make the decision to leave DePaul? Because you own the city, you know. Again, Jordan's in town, but you own the city. The Demons out of show. How do you make your mind up to go to Ricky Grace is the guy you're thinking of? It just popped in my head.
He's not the point guard. It was another kid. He's from D.C. Tough, dark-skinned, stocky dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
you
trying to make up, you know, how what pushes you towards the pros instead of coming back for one more year?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, and not thoroughly proud of it, but you know, and that's why, like back then, I was a basketball guy. I couldn't say that I was all into the books. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to play basketball, so I really honestly was trying to get to the NBA as soon as possible. I tried after my second year to go to the league, and you know they said you'll be a second round or whatever, and so I decided to stay another year. So I had my eyes after my freshman year, after realizing that I had a chance, because I'm not like, you know, these young kids now in 7th, 8th grade, they believe they're pros. I didn't know that. You know, in 7th grade, I was trying to figure out if I was good enough for high school. High school, I was trying to figure out if I was good enough for college. I didn't start to believe that I was a pro or know that I was a pro until after I played Georgetown on national TV my freshman year. And then I said, wow, you know, because Al McGuire called me, said a star is born. And so that kind of gave me confidence that, wow, you know, I got a shot at this. So it wasn't like I just knew I was a pro, but I knew I wanted to be a pro. So I was kind of, you know, I was looking to leave as soon as possible. And And I say that though to say, like, when I look back at all that, and that's why when I look at these young kids now, and I look at how, you know, at least back then people pushed you to do your work. Like, at least the people I were around, you know, my AAU coaches and the mentors, they wanted you to be a good student. I was one of those kids that the teachers would always say, if you would apply yourself. You know what I mean? I just wasn't, I just didn't apply myself all the time. But after all these years, I get it and I understand the value of having an education and having that maturity process work for me, you know, because I've had situations and incidents and things that's gone on in my life that's probably stunted my basketball career and probably has a lot to do with, you know, taking school seriously, you know, going through those steps of, you know, becoming a young man, then coming to college and maturing and being in an learning environment and kind of thinking through things and all that, you know, those type of things. So not totally proud of it, but that's the situation that I was in at the time. And I always try to tell these young dudes now, and I have kids now that are 3.6, 3.7 students, and I'm so proud of them. And I tell them all the time, you're so far ahead of me, it's ridiculous. Yeah, thanks. But I'm so proud of them because, you know, I found out as this life goes on, you know, what you missed out and the mistakes you make, you know, has a lot to do with that learning process, you know. And so my kids, I feel like they're advanced and they play basketball. And I always tell them, I said, the better you get as a basketball player with your grades and who you are as a person, you in that small percentile. You know what I mean? And you become special. And I think we're so, well, I'm not going to say we, but people are so into making their kids these special basketball players that they forget about the school part and the learning part and the loyalty part. And so, you know, that makes for bumpy roads and bumpy situations. If you would put as much time, or not even as much, but somewhere near the same time in front of a desk as you do on the court, you'd be surprised, you know. you could become your own man. That's one thing I learned. Like, I look at all the agents and, all the hangers on and everybody who's trying. Because once you walk out the door,